Hi guys, welcome to a new video. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please do, that would really help. But otherwise, today, first day in Pico, so I'm gonna go visit a bit the main landmarks here. And I also have my first tasting and first interview with the Cooperative Vitivinicola, d'Aia do Pico. So it's gonna be very interesting. Looking forward to this. I started my day by going to the largest and oldest winery on the island, the wine cooperative of the island of Pico, also called Pico Wine. The winery, also called an adega in Portuguese, is located close to the center of Madalena, not far from Sonveria, and is quite massive. Founded in 1949, the company played a crucial role in the survival of the vineyard and the winemaking tradition in the island. Before going to Pico, I had already done some research and I had planned to do a full-size documentary on this fascinating wine. For this reason, I had contacted the co-op to do an interview, and they had very nicely agreed.
So my name is Pedro Cavaleiro. I'm the general manager here at Pico Wine. So we are at the moment at the Pico Island Wine Cooperative. So the cooperative is a gathering of agricultures or wine grape producers. So we are at the moment a gathering of 280 grape producers, and they all come together every year into the cooperative to bring their grapes. Their grapes are bought by the cooperative as an entity, and then our job is to produce the wine and obviously pay them for the grapes they are producing. So there's always a connection between the production part of the land and obviously the vinification part here. So here in the cooperative, I think that we do almost everything that's possible to do. So we do table wines, red, white, we do roses, we do sparkling wines, we do liquoroso or liquorous wines, we do liqueurs using natural infusions, either with plants or fruits. We do fortified, we do aguardentes, so either bagaceira from the grape or vinica from the wine. We do vincheiro. It's that we try to use the most of the grape that we can. For example, the peel of the grape, it's then kept to be burned into aguardente. The lees or the rest, the remainings of the filtrations of the wines, then they are burned into aguardente vinica. And then with those, we combine them and we infuse them with the fruits, and then we get the liqueurs. So like that, you can kind of close the circle and use all the product that it comes from this vineyards, because it's so expensive. It's so hard, so hardly earned, that you really need to take the most advantage out of it. So there are a lot of things that make Pico wines unique. So first of all, I'll call out three at the top of my head. First of all, we have the environment that they are grown into, right? So we are talking about an island in the middle of the Atlantic with tropical climate. The soil, it's very important to what we get afterwards. So this is volcanic soil, but not an old volcanic soil. It's a very young volcanic soil. For example, if you go to other volcanic islands like Sicily or Lanzarote, what you see in there are basically decomposed or fragmented rocks, right? Sand, most of it. Even if you go to in Azores, if you go, for example, to São Miguel or Graciosa, Santa Maria, they are older islands. Obviously, with the composition of the soil, the mineral composition in the soil is different. So in here, we don't really have soil. We have rock, still rock. We have big chunks of rock, huge chunks of rock, acres of the same rock, for example, because this is mostly known as lava beds. So what a lava bed is basically a very large extension of lava that just settled in there. The only thing that you have in it is cracks or the man-made holes where you have now planted the grapes. So the composition in the soil, the environment, the level of humidity that you get in here, the amount of rain, almost every year, obviously now it's a little bit chill, but you get the same temperature or a very small range in temperature from throughout the year. So all that just gives it, in terms of the environment, a very specific set of characteristics that you'll then find in wine. Then you have the grape varieties. Great autochthonous grape varieties, white grape varieties only at the moment. So we have certified as being from Pico. We have 3 grape varieties. We have Arinto dos Açores, we have Verdelho, and we have Terranteiros do Pico. So they are genetically different, and that's very important. They are genetically different from all the other peers. For example, you have Terranteiros in Madeira, you have Arinto in Alentejo, you have some Verdelho in Alentejo as well, but these ones, they are identified as being genetically different. So these ones you can only find in here. And that is because they have been here for so long, right? We really don't have a date when they were brought in here or when they have split into these 3 different ones, because it said that the first one was Verdelho or Verdecchio from Italy, and then the genetic changes gave us the other 2. But so they have been here for so long that they are so adapted to the island. They bring out so much of what I just told you about the environment, right? The volcanic soil, you can feel volcanic rocks in some of the wines. You can feel the salt. For example, salt is one of the best things that describes our wines. You can feel it when you're tasting the wine. The acidity that you get from the minerals present, the potassium in the rock. This just makes so everything I'm saying just makes it more and more unique, and that's very rare and impossible to replicate anywhere else in the world. If you want Azorean wines or anything similar, you won't find it. Even if you go to other Portuguese islands, like if you go to Terceira, if you go to São Miguel, even if you go to Madeira, for example, also a volcanic island, there's nothing like it. So in terms of the history of the island, you need to understand it the way conquerors saw it hundreds of years ago, right? There's a story that is told that the first people that came here, they quickly ran away because they thought this was so inhospitable that nothing could be grown in here. So there was no life. This was empty of everything, only dark rock on the soil, and there was really no land, only rock. So that really set apart the things that you could produce in here compared to the ones you could produce in any other island in the Azores. So that really makes Pico Island very special into the wine production business, and very different from the others. Winemaking in the island was, from what we know, started by a Franciscan priest. So it said it came from Sicily in Italy, and with him he brought the first plant. His name was Pedro Gigante, or in a literal translation, Peter the Giant. He was said to be a very tall man, and he settled in Silveira, so a very small place here in the island, and that's where he started the production of wine. Obviously, because he needed it to do the service, the Sunday service. So that's really how it started here in the island. Right, we have 70 years in the living and in the making. We have been making wine since then. We were, and we still are, but we were in times the most important company because all the producers were our associates, right? There was no more production apart from the production that came into the cooperative, and that really made a part in history and into getting us to today. Because if there was no cooperative, I'd say maybe 40, 50, 60 years ago, there would have been no strength into keeping the wine production into today.
After the interview, people at the co-op made me try the different wine they produced. Man, it was nice. Wine tourism is something that they're trying to develop, and I would definitely recommend you try and book some tastings. Frei Gigante, their blend white wine, is a great introduction to Pico wine, and the single varietal wines are super interesting. But by far, my favorite was their fortified wine that has been aged for 10 years. It was delicious. We had a great time, and I even managed to share a wine from my region that they really enjoyed. After the interview, I had planned to go discover a lake called Lagoa do Capitão that I had heard was very pretty. On the way there, I had stopped by a part of the coastline that was amazing. So new that you could still see the lava flow. A paradise for photographers. The villages on the way were also very colorful and were bright red and black, the traditional colors of Pico. At long last, I had reached Lagoa do Capitão. It was indeed quite a nice lake, but after seeing Sete Cidades and Lagoa do Fogo, that one fell a bit short. I took a nice walk there, but I had to leave quite early as the very thin rain started to pour, which gave to the landscape a vibe similar to what you can find in Madeira, in the Faial region. I actually quite enjoyed it, because I managed to take a few nice pictures that I'm quite proud of. Overall, that day was amazing. I tasted great wines and managed to see how raw and wild nature was in Pico. Compared to other islands like San Miguel, that was a shock. This day really made me fall in love even further with the Azores and their diversity. Don't forget to subscribe to not miss further videos and help the channel grow. I'm currently working on the documentary about Pico wine that should come out in coming months. I will try to share a few sneak peeks in the coming videos. On this, I hope that you enjoyed this one, and I see you in the next one that should come very, very soon. Tschüss!